feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride away.
Okay, I think this is it. Okay.
Tables and music.
All right, not going to play the whole thing. I'll play a little bit of this. It's going to kind of explain a little bit of what I've said before, but give you a little bit more context, and then we'll just kind of move on. All right. This Diddy stuff is gonna turn into some crazy shit. Essentially, these law firms, and I think that's what Tony Busby. I think he has to be doing some type of due diligence. Probably got a couple of investigators trying to make sure that they're verifying these things. Was there a party that happened in the Hamptons and happened in the Hamptons around 2014? Was it a white party? Was this person there? Was that they got to do so? It can't be just make up a story, right? Because the lawyers get in trouble, and now they're targeting the lawyers. I told you that before.
Is that he improperly files cases in federal dramatic flair to his filings, but Mr. Blackburn has also come into the spotlight a bit for other reasons. You see, not only has he been criticized by opposing counsel, which we're going to get into, but a federal judge referred him to the grievance committee in New York. United States District Court judge for the Southern District of New York, Denise Coate, submitted a referral to the New York Federal Court Grievance Committee claiming that there were issues with Blackburn in 5 cases. She wrote in one of these filings, quote, "A reasonable inference from Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly." Well, with all of that, now Tyrone Blackburn is fighting back. Not necessarily with the judge. He claims he already issued a response regarding that issue. But what we're talking about now is more specifically with respect to Sean Combs, because he is fighting back against the defendants in one of these lawsuits from filing sanctions against him. Let me explain. So Tyrone Blackburn represents Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who sued Combs-affiliated companies,
I'm gonna speed this up a little
and
bit.
others, including actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Jones alleges sexual assault, harassment, sex trafficking. As part of the lawsuit, Jones was suing Motown Records, Universal Music Group, UMG, and Lucian Grange, the CEO of UMG. Collectively, they're known as the UMG defendants. We're going to be saying that a lot. Now, interestingly, these defendants, or the attorney who represents these defendants, in a filing wrote, quote, "Plaintiff had also named Universal Music Group as a defendant, but there is no such juridical entity. Universal Music Group is an umbrella name commonly used to refer to all of the various companies and record labels that are encompassed within UMG Recordings, Inc. I therefore assume that plaintiff has misnamed Universal Music Group, intending to actually name UMG Recordings, Inc., and I will refer to Universal Music Group herein as UMG Recordings, Inc." Okay, so would not be great if you get the name wrong of one of the defendants, but putting that aside, with that, Jones alleges that all of these entities are liable for the abuse that he suffered at the hands of Sean Combs. The idea is that all of these defendants are part of this illegal criminal enterprise in violation of RICO, or racketeering law, making money by forcing and threatening people like Jones to transport drugs and guns, solicit minors and sex workers, and make music without properly paying individuals like Jones. That these UMG defendants and other affiliated companies should have been monitored.
Okay, I'll skip a little bit. They basically get in trouble for just naming Lucian Grange, you know what I mean?
And that's the issue. Based upon new filings from Mr. Blackburn, it seems that there was an agreement here between him and opposing counsel to drop the...
So the lawyer is claiming that UMG lawyers snaked him, right? And they agree that, if you take out Lucian Grange, UMG, we're not going to do a motion for sanctions. Except he agreed and dropped them, and they still did it. So he's claiming they snaked him, and they're claiming that he's just kind of shoddily filing these frivolous, not necessarily lawsuits, but he's including people and overlooking facts. Anyway.
Agreements. We even secured the services of a handwriting expert who confirmed our suspicions that Combs did not sign the agreement with Motown. As a result, Plaintiff Jones felt that Motown and the UMG defendants were more than likely victims of fraud perpetrated by Combs, and it would be impossible to hold them equally liable for the harm Combs. The jury would find these defendants sympathetic and is asking for sanctions pursuant to Rule 11 under the federal rules, which basically says You can't file a pleading or a motion or a paper for an improper purpose. You need to have some basis in support for what you're alleging, basis in law and fact. You can't file frivolous claims or arguments. And that makes sense, right? You can't use the legal system as an unfair weapon. So Zakarin is claiming that Mr. Blackburn made a lot of wild accusations in Jones' lawsuits that weren't necessarily supported by facts or evidence. And this complaint was filed purely to harass and defame the defendants and to garner media attention for Jones. And this motion that was asking for sanctions against Blackburn and Jones included a sworn declaration from Zakarin and one of the unnecessary legal fees and expenses that this action has now cost them. And one of the fine.
Okay, so there's something called, in federal court, it's Rule 11, and it's Rule 11. It's basically a motion to sanction, which again, if you're just using the legal process to harass people, the judge could then say, yo, you have to pay a penalty for basically not doing your due diligence, omitting facts, not doing things in bad faith. And a sanction could be you have to pay the legal fees, like 100% of the legal fees for the defendants. Now, UMG has big lawyers. They've spent, and it says it spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Even just doing this. And essentially, if this lawyer is found to have, violated that, they're going to be on the hook to pay UMG hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Also, that's just generally not a good look for his other clients, who people are going to point out, yo, a judge scolded you before, saying that you're just filing lawsuits improperly. And then also, if he's found to have to pay some type of, amount to UMG, like, this is going to look bad, right? Again, generally, you don't go at record labels. Like, you can't win, right? This is one of the things that they're saying that was just factually incorrect. And that's why they're saying that this guy's just making it up. And whether it's Lil Rod making it up, the lawyer should do some due diligence to try to corroborate or to check out if a story from a client is making sense or is actually true before you file it on their behalf.
Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami in the evenings, and both would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedrooms. Aside from the absurd oddity of the identical alleged behavior by two individuals separately on apparently separate occasions, the entire story about their attendance at any events at Mr. Combs' homes or any listening parties is completely fabricated. Sir Lucian Grange has never been to Mr. Combs' homes in L.A. or Miami and never attended or sponsored any listening parties at any of Mr. Combs' homes and was not present at any writers' camps. Thus, everything alleged about both Sir Lucian Grange's supposed knowledge of illicit and illegal activities engaged in by Mr. Combs and others are categorically false. And there are hundreds and hundreds of pages in these memo filings, but it kind of gives you an idea of the accusations. Again,
okay.
Lucian Grange provided a similar sworn statement, and right off the bat, he pointed out something very important. As the second amended complaint admits, I am a resident of California, not New York. As I will detail below, I engaged in no activity in New York whatsoever with respect to this matter. So that would essentially mean that there's a jurisdiction issue. He shouldn't be a part of a New York lawsuit. And he also says that, quote, none of these allegations are supported by a single fact. Okay, so now you know what the sanctions are all about. We now have to talk about Monday. Because on Monday, Mr. Blackburn...
Okay, so he fired back, and they just started talking. This is how lawyers like to talk spicy to each other. I'll play this, and then we're going to kind of move off.
That Zakarin did this because in an email to Blackburn, Zakarin wrote, you seem to believe that having filed 3 separate complaints over the past 2 months, each of which is filled with offensively false accusations of criminal conduct that you either knew were completely false or as to which you were completely indifferent to whether they were true or false, you can skate away unscathed by your conduct simply by proposing terms on which you would dismiss the current version of the complaint with prejudice.
So to think about how much lawsuits are costing UMG to defend, and this is why they're going hard on this lawyer, because they're like, yo, they don't have any stake to defend Diddy. Diddy doesn't have a deal currently with UMG, but they're putting in all these companies that are going to be a part of this whole thing, and they got to try to make an example out of this guy, or is going to encourage other people. Like, for example, let's say a rapper dies, you're going to try to sue UMG. Like they got to make an example out of somebody. and it appears that they're looking at this guy like, yo, we spent a couple $100,000 already on defending this shit, bro. We're gonna try to make an example out of you that you don't keep doing this.
You appear indifferent to the harm you and your client have caused to completely innocent people and companies. But Blackburn goes back to say, we agreed to dismiss the claim so you wouldn't try to sanction us. And Blackburn states, look, I honestly should have known better than to believe that Zakarin would act with integrity. Blackburn then goes on to defend himself, saying he didn't act in bad faith when he filed this lawsuit against the UMG defendants, that this lawsuit was instituted because the UMG defendants knowingly conducted business with Combs, whom they knew or should have known was a violent, deceptive, morally flawed individual. He says this lawsuit was not instituted for some improper purpose, but rather for the very legitimate purpose of recovering damages for the UMG defendants' reckless, self-serving decision to enter a partnership with Combs to develop Love Records. He says that what he was doing was based on a reasonable investigation. He claims he spoke with witnesses, that Mr. Jones had corroborating evidence like text messages, video recordings, and it really should be no surprise that these defendants were added to this lawsuit given what Blackburn says is Combs' notorious history, that he's facing 8 lawsuits accusing him of rape and sex trafficking.
Okay. All right, you guys get the gist. So, we're going to see how they rule about this. However, it's very interesting that we do hear that allegedly the feds have met with Lil Rod's lawyers. So, that's going to be one thing to kind of tell if he's telling the truth about some of these things in a superseding indictment, we should see the feds included, right? They've met with his lawyer 10 times. Apparently he's drawn out his room. He's told them where to go to find God knows what. So we will see. We will absolutely see. All right. What was the next thing I was trying to get into? Holy crap. I just lost my train of thought. Oh. Give me 1 second. I know what it is. Let me pull it up. So, wait, what the fuck?
More shocking revelations are emerging about disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, this time involving allegations.
Another lawsuit? Bro, it's like as soon as I refresh another lawsuit, hold on.
We learned the following year that he was...
Apparently, they're now filing lawsuits that's including the... Remember when Diddy hit the UCLA coach with a kettlebell for not starting his son? Those things are coming up. Yo, it's open season on filing lawsuits on Diddy, it seems, right?
Bystanders. There was a bribery. Charges were reduced. He was ordered to attend an anger management class. And of course, we can't discuss Sean Combs' past history of violence without bringing up the current dangerous hot water he is in for racketeering, sex trafficking charges, these federal charges he's faced, and a man who worked at Macy's in New York City. These suits were filed on behalf of 2 women and 4 men. They're part of 100. Combs quickly settled that lawsuit a day after. Mauricio, so good to see you. Thanks for coming back here on Sidebar.
Good seeing you. Thanks for having me.
Got a lot to unpack here. I think the first place to start with is with this 2015 football incident. What do you make of it, and what do you make of it coming out now?
I think what it is it's the government continuing to portray him as someone that's willing to do anything for his son. I'm hearing now allegations of yacht parties that he threw for his son, that he may have drugged women for them to be able to have sex with his son or to make them better guests for these.
All right, we're Diddy now, bro. Jesus Christ. Anyway, real quick, yo. Unfortunately, we have to. I literally feel, yo. I sat and watched yesterday about 6 hours of just legal random stuff to make me understand some of the stuff I'm reading, that I could try to break it down for y'all in a way that makes sense, because sometimes legal terms and the legal process is very, very just convoluted, right? Even this whole is he gonna get bail thing, right? Essentially, he's at his last chance of getting bail, which is kind of well, not necessarily his last chance of getting bail, because he could always keep bringing it up to the magistrate judge. But if based on this package, I don't see what else he could offer. There's nothing more that could offer, or no circumstance that could probably change. So this last thing with Diddy is at the circuit court. If he doesn't get bailed, then he's going to be in jail until the whole trial is done, and that's going to come down via a 3-panel written appeal decision. Regardless. So yeah, I've been like fucking taking a fucking crash course on U.S. federal courts that I could understand like the process of what the fuck is going on. Anyway, there's a lot of legal shit that's kind of happening in hip hop because we're not getting much music. So like we're just talking about a bunch of legal shit. There's some gossip shit, but we're talking about so much legal shit, right? So like for example, what's happening now, and I'm hearing, you know, I have good authority to tell to say that Jay-Z and his attorneys, they're gonna start putting a full court press, and this shouldn't be taken as a sign of their guilt or even innocence. It just is what it is. That's what happens when you go at a huge brand. They're putting a full court press on people who are peddling rumors that Jay-Z is a pedophile, that Jay-Z have R-worded people, or that Jay-Z has conspired or done illegal things in the nature of sexuality to the point of making him seem similar to Diddy or anything of the sort. Obviously, we know what happened with Piers Morgan, but what's also come to light is that, you know, they're also utilizing their resources, and it's not always going to come through a lawsuit. I keep telling you, the thing with the lawsuit is that you're going to, like, for example, UMG has wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars to defend themselves, hasn't even gotten to court yet, hasn't even got to the discovery process of any of these things yet, right? And with all due respect, does Lil Rod have hundreds of thousands of dollars? No. So they're spending out the ass. So like really, a lot of companies, when you have a lot of money and the other person don't got a lot of money, you kind of don't want to have to get to court, but you do have remedies to kind of either scare those people to fucking shut up, or if you can't scare them, you scare the platforms they're on, right? For example, you scare Piers Morgan. And from what I've heard now, pretty much the YouTube channel that is damn near her home right now, Real Life Street Stars, apparently they have been, you know, suspended from YouTube, and not necessarily their channel, but they can't upload for a while. And why can't they upload? Because they got a strike for platform and Jaguar right. They don't really say what the strike is about, but I could imagine, hey, put it like this. You have Jay-Z, you got Lil Cohen who runs YouTube. Bruv, you're platforming this chick. It's only a matter of time before she says Lil Cohen's name. Lil Cohen left 300 Entertainment. Remember, he was running around behind Diddy, he was running around behind Young Thug, almost like his daddy, like Lil Cohen, Young Thug, but he left 300 Entertainment and he went to YouTube. He runs YouTube Music. And, you know, not to us make any assumptions here, but for all y'all YouTubers, be aware. And I'm not telling y'all, I'm not hating on Jaguar right, but if y'all are getting these people and paying them money just to say shit, and every time they go on camera, they say a new allegation and a new allegation, and especially if they're starting to build steam, you might look at it as views, but you have to realize you're playing with billionaires, and they're not going to take it too lightly, and you shouldn't be surprised if you start seeing things start crumbling around you. Real Life Street Stars came out and admitted that their channel recently got, you know, struck. And this is what they said. By the way, they do have a video up, and I don't think it's all the Jaguar Right content, but usually this is a warning, okay? This is a channel that does these interviews, okay? Anyway, here's where they speak on it. I guess this is a guy who's the owner, so shout out to him.
All right, what's good, y'all? All right, here we go. Just another quick conversation I want to have with you guys. As you can see the title, what I want y'all to do before we even talk about the situation that's going on, I want y'all to, of course, make sure you do the thing. Hit that like button as it drives up the numbers. Subscribe to the channel just to hear anything coming up or anything that's coming forward. And then, of course, hit that notification bell. So therefore, when I do go live, you know that it's me going live, and therefore you can hop in and we can do this thing together. But as you can see, yes, no, the Real Life channel, we are not posting any videos because we can't. We actually got a strike on our channel, First a warning, then a strike because of our Jaguar Right content. So technically, and this kind of more so goes into, I don't want to go into the details of what the strike was about, but it definitely was because of the Jaguar Right content. Maybe it's Jay-Z, maybe it's Beyonce, maybe it's the Beehive, maybe it's Diddy, maybe it's Diddy's people, maybe it's Leo Cohen, maybe it's Kamala Harris, maybe it's Obama, maybe it's Biden. Who knows? Maybe it's YouTube. But either way, we got a strike, so therefore we're not going to be posting nothing on that channel for at least a week.
Now, again, you know, I like all these YouTube channels. I react to a lot of their content. I want to just give a warning to all of these guys. Y'all need to think about the timing we're in. Y'all got to treat Jaguar right, Orlando Brown, all of these people who just get on and they got all these stories, and especially when they're super salacious. You know, I feel like Gene Deal is like middle of the road. Like, I don't think he comes out and just says, "Oh, everything is true." Like he's been saying the same thing consistently for a while, but a lot of this unsubstantiated shit, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I think something I should stay away from. Right? It does go for good clicks. Right now, it's hot, but like how I've learned, it's like when, you know, like I had a couple of conversations with some of these platforms, I won't mention where. They basically, like, for platforms like mine, they basically say, stay your ass out of politics, right? When it comes to political season, which is usually 6 months from the date of especially a presidential election, they police extra when non-political pages or cultural pages like mine post about politics. What does that mean? Well, they'll strike your page, censor you, shadow. Like my Instagram page is shadow. I post hip hop 365. We got shadow banned again for politics. They're not playing about politics right now. It's political season. I'm using that as an example to say to these guys who probably are seeing a huge profit margin when it comes to a Jaguar, right? Who's just gonna, like, you know, she has a different. She's building on these, who knows, his conspiracy theories or facts, but she has something else to say every single time. You gonna get yourself fucked up. These platforms is gonna keep striking y'all. I think it's just started. I think the lawyers of, if this is my opinion, the lawyers of Jay-Z, they're not going to sue y'all. Y'all don't have money like that, with all due respect, right? They're, if they don't think that you're making millions, they're not going to sue y'all, right? They're going to target the platforms which you work with. Piers Morgan might get a direct ultimatum. For y'all, they're not even going to hit y'all with a cease and desist because you're going to come back online and use it as content. Yo, I just got here with a cease and desist. Well, you know what the fans are going to say? Well, damn, it might be right. So you know what they do? They go through their back channels and they hit the YouTube system. Now you have a partner manager on YouTube watching your channel. You never want that because now you're not really knowing, so you keep producing that same content and they just keep striking you till they get you out of here. So, shout out to real life street stars, I believe. I hope they realize, hey, not telling y'all not to do content with Jaguar right, but you're on the radar. All pun intended. You get what I'm saying? The people who are powerful in this country know how to shut you up without telling you to shut up, right? It's clear in the last month or so. I don't know if Jay-Z had a meeting with his people, but they've came to a consensus. All of this conspiracy theory, did he fuck her when she was 15? Did he do that with her? Did he get a secret kid? They're sick of it. And, again, not accusing Jay-Z of anything specifically, but I think we do know with a certain level of powerful and famous people, they start playing really unfair. They'll let you talk your shit, but they'll be like, how you feel about being demonetized, you bitch ass nigga? How you feel about you can't post no videos, nigga? That's how they get at you. So, I wish real life the best, but it's clear. Like right now, I see why Vlad's like, I wouldn't interview Jaguar right now. Like it's not the, Anyway, we'll see. Oh, real quick. This was a lawyer I was talking about, the second lawyer. This was her. And she was the one going around essentially saying that she also has a sex tape of Diddy that's being allegedly shopped, which is kind of also a little crazy, right? It's like pretty crazy, right?
Contacted regarding the sale of one of the Diddy freak-off tapes, and that it features a very high-profile celebrity. What can you tell us about that?
So actually, I recently was contacted by one of my business partners who's also an attorney who said to me, well, why are we not writing the demand letter to try to do the catch and kill? And I said, well, if you want to do it, then I'll connect you and you can essentially do it.
Now, y'all tell me if this is scummy, chat. They're selling a sex tape, seemingly one that is unauthorized to already even be in their presence or be in their possession. It allegedly contains supposed Diddy and another male who was young at the time. You could put any name to that you think it could be. And what a catch and kill would be, because Diddy's incarcerated right now, right, would be them, I wouldn't even say necessarily going to Diddy, but probably going to the other person who could be now embarrassed and then be thrusted in a direct link in the first sexual potential, visual that includes Diddy, which would just be bad for any person's brand right now, right? And they would go to that person and say, yo, this video won't ever come out. And we could sign some agreements that it won't ever come out. But you got to pay this amount of money. Is that scummy or is that just business? I don't know. Now, I'm not saying it necessarily on her part, but it's just... Because I'm even thinking about the person who was young at the time. So you're telling me that y'all try to damn almost extort the person? Like, yo, you got to pay up or this tape with you and Diddy might come out?
He was also concerned about wanting to protect the other person who was in the film, mainly because I've known about this for about 3.5 weeks to about a month. I've been communicating with these people who purport to have that videotape. And it wasn't until Thursday night that they outright said, can you write on your letterhead a letter to the individual who's also in the tape and see if they're interested in a catch and kill? And is that something we'll give you X amount of percentage of it? And at the time I was like, I don't think I want to be involved in this, but I hadn't had time to process. But the other attorney I'm speaking of, he's pretty much been in the know the entire time since I first got contacted by these individuals with the tape. And we're pursuing now a meeting with the three of us for us to broker, I guess, a situation where we'll have certain guarantees that once we make the representations to the person in the tape, that we have some level of assurances that this is a valid tape.
And just to be clear, two thoughts about this. One, is it a household name that we're talking about here? And secondly, are they engaged in any criminality from what you understand?
Household name, very much so. More of a household name than Mr. Combs.
Wow,
And
really?
Criminality, they are engaged in pornography. They're not doing anything illegal per se. I can't say that well, I'll say this. My concern was that I could not verify the age of the individual.
Okay, anyway. Last thing on this, and then we will not
Me to
go back.
essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No,
this
I can't
tape.
explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video, and I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Oh my. All right. So we know that he.
Okay.